What's up YouTube, Yoda here, bringing you an Elden Ring build guide for patch 1.04. Jumping into the build real quick, we are level 150 and we are in New Game Plus Plus. So for the gameplay that you're going to see later on in this video, me just killing some bosses just to show you the maximum and the burst damage potential of this build itself. Take that into account. Now these are my stats. I do have Godric's Great Ruin popped, so I do have +5 in every stat. So take that into account as well. Now with patch 1.04, we did see a nice little weapon speed increase with the Colossal Swords. And we did see an increase of a lot of changes with spells themselves to increase the damage. Sorry, not the damage, but to increase the attack speed, FP cost, decrease recovery time. So all in all, just, better burst potential, better DPS output. So a very, very welcome change to the game in and of itself, because for a long time Bleed was pretty much the king, and Bleed still is very, very good. There was no super direct nerfs to Bleed itself, though there were a few things changed in terms of scaling, which I think needed to be overhauled. But without going into too much details with those, let's get on with our build. Now I'm bringing you a Frost Knight build. And this build is a lot of fun. Now, I will tell you one thing. When I first started playing the game, I did a dual wield twin blade build with bleed procs. And this build itself has brought a new vibe to the game, a new energy. This build is snappy. It is so much fun to play. And it is extremely, extremely deadly. Now, using the Royal Greatsword, Wolf's Assault, this weapon art is insanely effective. They actually buffed the cast speed and the recovery speed, so you cast it faster and then you can recover out of it faster, or you can do another follow-up weapon art, resulting in just good net burst and good overall sustain. Sorry, my cat keeps jumping up and trying to play with me. Stop. Okay, so now I have the Carrying Regal Scepter, which we're going to get a S and int scaling, which is very nice, and then boost Full Moon Sorcery, so that's always nice as well. I believe that buffs Ranni's Dark Moon, but I could be wrong, but I believe it does. Now jumping into our armor that we're using. I'm using the Snow Witch's Hat, which is going to boost our Cold Sorcery. So very nice, very nice. And then we're using Blad's armor, the 3-piece. Now, I believe getting this armor and then this greatsword, you have to do Ranni's questline and you have to end up killing Blad in order to get it. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what you have to do. The Carrying Regal Scepter, you just have to kill Renala and then turn in her remembrance for this scepter. But it does have a very hefty 60 int cost, so take that into mind. Now, jumping down into Talismans. We are using the Shard of Alexander, greatly boosts the attack power of skills. This is going to help with our Wolf's Assault, boosting that damage greatly, so very, very nice. So if you look over at our stats, we do have 23 dexterity. Now, if you don't know, dexterity actually increased spell haste, so cast speed. A Radagon icon is effectively going to give us +30 dex in terms of spell haste itself, which is very nice. So that would put us at a net of, or a grand total of 53. So very, very good in terms of spell haste. Moving on, we have Graven Mass Talisman, which is going to greatly raise potency of sorceries. Of course, this is a no-brainer. This is going to make sure our moon hits like a truck, as with our other two sorceries that we're utilizing, and then Magic Scorpion Charm. Now, this is actually going to boost the damage of our sword itself, because as you can see, we have a magic attack power scaling slot. And then it's also going to increase our sorcery damage as well. So very, very nice. Going down, we have the Flask of wondrous physick. Oops, I forgot to change this for the beginning of the video, but we're going to be switching this over to boosting magic damage. So I'll do that real quick. I'll go back into equipment, show you guys. So we have Magic Shroud and Cracked here, temporarily boost magic attacks. This is essential for you to pretty much get a 3-minute buff where you're going to have increased magic damage. Essential, essential, essential. We're also using the Winged Crystal tier, but you can use whatever you want. I think only the Magic Shroud and Cracked tier is going to be a necessity for this build. But the wing crystal tier, amazing. Temporarily reduces equip load, so you get another 3-minute buff where you pretty much have max equip load. So you're going to be able to do, you're going to have light load, so you're going to be able to do light dodge rolls, which for my playstyle, I like a lot. And then, yeah, and that's pretty much the brunt of the build. It's a lot of fun. I want to show you guys real quick Wolf's Assault. So now, take note of just how fast this is. It is extremely quick. You can do another follow-up. And look at the FP cost. Just look at that FP cost. Our total FP bar, and we cast it 3 times, that's nothing. That is nothing. And this does a ton of damage. The value is absolutely insane. And then we have Ronnie's Dark Moon. Now, Ronnie's Dark Moon's really nice. So not only does it cast faster now, but you will go into our inventory, go down to Ronnie's Dark Moon. So now this is going to temporarily reduce magic damage negation for those it strikes. Now this is going to do a 30% debuff to the target's magic damage negation. Now this is not a 30% damage buff, this is a 30% damage debuff for the magic school based on their overall resistance. So this is going to vary based on whatever ad you attack, but this is not a 30% damage buff. This is just a 30% damage debuff to whatever their relative magic damage negation already is. But still very good. Still very good. This is very effective against bosses. And then we are using Duel's Moonblade, which they did do a change to this. I believe they changed the consistency at which your frost deals damage to the target. I know they decreased the damage of just an overall, the overall brunt of the attack, but I do believe that they increased the frost build above it. So that is a very welcome change. And this is more Ice Storm. Now this was not changed at all, but this is extremely effective. You can do a fast cast, or you can do a charge heavy. As you can see, it lasts longer if you do the charge attack. Now the reason why this wasn't changed is because if you do a charge version of this attack, you are pretty much guaranteed to put the frost debuff on the target, which if you don't know, if you put the frost debuff on a target, actually it takes increased damage. So it's very nice. So overall, you know, us doing majority frost attack, building up that frostbite bar, and then using Ronnie's Dark Moon, we are just going to be doing a ton of damage. And that's pretty much the principle of the build. Moving forward for the gameplay, it's just going to be us taking on some bosses and just showing you guys just the burst potential of this build. And I hope you guys enjoy. Alright guys, so for going into a fight, pretty much want to pre-prop your physick. Make sure you're nice and happy and healthy with your mana. You're going to do 2 casts on Ronnie's Moon. Make sure you get that debuff on. I like to get nice mana full. And do a couple of weapon arts to follow up. Of course, we got hit with a nice little butt slam. We're going to come in again. And this thing is just loving the butt slams right now. Just finish her off with a nice little weapon arm. And as you can see, a ton of damage. Great burst, especially right off the rip with the Ronnie's Dark Moon, putting that debuff on with the frostbite itself. and so much fun. And alright guys, that is the gameplay for this build. As you can see, very strong, a lot of fun. As I, reiterate multiple times throughout me killing the bosses. But I mean, it's great. Obviously we just saw me using the weapon art and then Ronnie's Dark Moon for the opener. But that's pretty much all you really need to make this build extremely effective. Zamora's Ice Storm and a Duel's Moonblade, those are going to be more used in a little bit niche situations. Zamora's Ice Storm, particularly with a target that has, either multiple targets where you just want to straight up AoE and kill a whole bunch of things, or a boss with a large hitbox, because it can be hit and miss against certain enemies. Some honorable mentions on my channel and in the video description below. I will leave a link to a Spellblade build that I made. Now this was made before this patch 1.04, but it is just, now that build is just going to be emphasized, and everything in that build is still relative. The only thing in that build is that I would switch out with a Magic Scorpion Charm somewhere in there. I think I leave that on one of the comments, the pinned comment in the video, so just go check that out. And yeah, if you guys want to see a Dark Moon Greatsword build, Spellblade build, utilizes more sorceries than this build does for sure. We pretty much have every memory slot capped out. So if you guys want to check out something of that nature, please go watch that video. And then yeah, I think that's all really worth mentioning. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Please leave a like on the video and please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate that. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Peace.